What's the point? All right. Okay. All right.
You guys just taped TD?
We just got through with TD. Yep.
Okay, I'm pulling up the Sean Merriman and the different clips that were saved from
Yeah,
yesterday.
Sean Merriman will play later today at some point. I don't know. Um, or we'll play it tomorrow. I'm not sure. But because I was thinking about playing Terrell Davis later, but I talked to Terrell Davis about Rich Gannon, who we're having at 10:45, and I said because I knew I had an open mid segment, I'm like, you know what, bleep it. So we're talking to Rich Gannon next, and the only reason why you guys won that game in '97 is because Gerbach played instead of Rich Gannon, and so we
Are
had a
you
lot of
guys taking Gannon live?
yeah, Gannon will be live. Everything
Okay,
is live
okay.
that I just sent you except for Terrell Davis. So
Tell Rich I said hello.
yeah, I will. I heard you guys this morning going, "Hey, reach out to Rich," and I'm like, "Well, we're having him on at 10:45 today." But by the way, I'm so glad you retweeted that video because I didn't see that, Jake, of he and John.
That
Gruden.
was amazing.
Dude, I'm gonna bring it up with him about how great that was. So badass, man.
You know what you should ask him about?
What? Yeah.
See, I don't know if he'll go into it. Ask him about what it was like being recruited in free agency by Gruden.
Okay. Recruited by Gruden.
The chains together.
Great,
Visit
I can get to
corefirstbank.com.
that by just
Begging
talking
for
about
milestone
the
moments.
video.
Member
that you had with John
FDIC.
Gruden. What was it like being recruited by him to go to the Raiders? Yeah. I like it. Thanks, brother.
Bring Tell you what, man, I can't believe Kansas City is not in the Super Bowl this year. I haven't seen that in a long time. You know what I mean, man? I missed Patrick Mahomes already, man. Talk about the situation. What are we gonna do? Kansas City Chiefs, they need some type of interior lineman protect Patrick Mahomes. At the end of the day, I got to figure out what we're gonna do here. Maybe get him another wide receiver. We're looking. This is what we got to do. They focused on defense for a couple of years, get the offense back on track. It's kind of the Tom Brady situation. You win at the beginning, you got a little you slough off for a little bit, and then you come back and you change it all around. Brett Favre, I love Brett Favre too. I had to think about who I was for a second. That's the stuff you get to see live in the stadium. Like I start switching up so much, and I go, I'm just doing. Going from voice to voice, I start to get lost a little bit too.
Find him now.
Samesies, Frank, samesies, because from Denny Matthews just randomly, and then but no. A little bit better on the road, like that. We especially with Mario, and then an amazing, and then with Dennis Gates, Michael, it's just an our guys. That's the only one. I've got a very limited Dennis Gates. It's just when he says guys, that's it. That's the only.
We got to work on that.
I know with our guys. That's it. That's the only thing I can say was Dennis Gates. So if I say guys, I can slip into a Dennis Gates impression. But you know what? Here's the thing. I've been walking around the last couple of days, Michael, and everybody's like, "Hey, come on the show here in Austin and do your Denny Matthews impression." Yeah, I mean, would you believe that happened?
Not at all.
No, not at all. Not even for a second, because it didn't happen. Why in the hell would that happen? Nobody would care. Although I was on in Seattle. They were doing a live shot right in front of our setup here, and I was doing our video hit of what we have coming on the show today, and get sent a text from Sandy there at the station. It was like, "Hey, guy in Seattle just sent me this," and we were in the background as in their live shot as we were doing our hit from here at Radio Row. So we are worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Worldwide. By Seattle,
you
it
should
means
just
worldwide.
start doing the Denny for different radio interviews.
That's right. Just talk like that. Is like, what is this guy doing? I thought we were going to talk some Chiefs, and this guy's talking about Alex Gordon rounding second and heading to third in Game 7.
Who is Alex Gordon?
Why is you're talking about College Baseball Hall of Fame, Alex Gordon, Nebraska baseball? Is this the same Alex Gordon got one Hall of Fame vote? Alex Gordon, is that what we're talking about here? Oh, it must be that guy. Wow, you randomly knew a lot about Alex Gordon for somebody that said who was Alex Gordon. That would be weird. Here's how the show lines up today. It's day number 2 here at Radio Row. Jason Anderson with you, Michael Darcy there at the station. We head up until 2 o'clock. Coming up in 20 minutes from now, we will talk with Terrell Davis. He terrorized my youth, man. This guy ripped my heart out, threw it on the ground, and then stomped on it for no good reason. He didn't even know me, Michael. He didn't even know me yet. He did that to me. It was ridiculous. That 97 playoff game, divisional round against the Chiefs at home, 14-10 loss. We still think about it. 95, the loss to the Colts, divisional round. 97, the loss to the Broncos, divisional round. Broncos went on to win the Super Bowl in 97, went on to win the Super Bowl in 98. So we're talking with Terrell Davis, and it's odd how much I hate the Broncos, but always respected Terrell Davis. I don't know if anybody else has that same feeling around Kansas City. Like, I've talked about it, like the Raider haters and all of that, how much you hate the Raiders, that for me, the team that I've hated the most in the AFC West has been the Broncos. It's just, it's number one. It's Broncos, then Raiders, then Chargers. And there's kind of a gap between Broncos, Raiders, and then Chargers. Chargers are just like annoying. It's like a little mosquito or whatever. Like, just stop. They get away, you know? Broncos and Raiders.
Chargers haven't done anything, and the Broncos ripped your heart out. So
Yes,
it makes sense.
Exactly. And the Raiders were just sort of, you know, they were the evil empire, you know, even though they weren't good enough to be the evil empire. They represented like Darth Vader and stuff. But the Chargers is just like patting them on the head and say, oh, bless your heart, you know? So there wasn't a whole lot to necessarily hate from that. But the Broncos, just absolute disdain for that franchise and those teams. But for whatever reason, Terrell Davis was different for me. I didn't like Shannon Sharp. I didn't like Elway. I didn't like a lot of the different people. I like Neil Smith only because of, you know, the Kansas City part of Neil Smith. But Terrell Davis, for some reason, and not saying this because we're going to have him on, because we don't have him on right now, but for Terrell Davis, for some reason, I liked, and I hated that I liked him and respected his game so much because he played for the Broncos. But 97... Rich Gannon, we're going to talk to him at 10:45, and I feel like maybe we should combine those interviews if we could, but everybody's on a schedule. Because Rich Gannon in 97, had he played instead of Elvis Gerback, make a case that the Chiefs beat the Broncos there in the divisional round and they move on. Should I or should I not tell Terrell Davis the only reason they won that game is because Rich Gannon was not the quarterback?
I think you should. I think you should.
I should? You know what? I'm going to do it. Well, you know what? Can I feel out the interview first? Like, if he seems like he's a fun, good dude into it, can I feel that out and then bring it up with him? Or just barrel right in and say, bleep it, let's see what happens?
That could be your opener. It's not the strongest opener.
Okay.
But I would feel it out
okay,
first.
Great. That's what I'm going to do.
I just waltzed in here, and
Yeah.
I say yes. I say
Right.
do it. I'd be
So we're having Terrell Davis on in 20 minutes.
yes.
And then we're going to have Rich Gannon on right after him.
Oh,
and I wish we
lovely.
could have him on at the same time. But everybody's got a schedule is what I was saying. But I believe in my heart that the reason the Broncos won that game is because Elvis Gerback was quarterback and not Rich Gannon. And so I'm going to tell Terrell Davis that the only reason they won in 97 and then won the Super Bowl, and obviously the repeat, had Rich Gannon played in that divisional round in 97, the Broncos would have 0 Super Bowls because they wouldn't have repeated in 98. They would have lost in 97. The Chiefs might have been back-to-back Super Bowl champs in 97 and 98. I'm going to tell him that on the air. I just don't know, do I barge right in with that, or do I feel out the interview and then see like how fun the interview's going, how good it's going, and then maybe bring it up?
Hear me out.
Yeah.
If you bring it up and he's just pissed, well, then you know that
It's true.
It's true. It's true.
If he plays it off,
And-
it's like, oh, bless your heart.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you
yeah.
if you do it early and he's a little upset by it, a little prickly,
Yeah.
then you know, hey, this guy's not my guy. He's
Okay,
not.
I see.
It's not China. This is gonna be a bad interview no
I
matter
see.
what. We're getting
Yeah.
no fun from this.
But I don't want that to be the case because I like Terrell Davis.
But if it goes
I hate
well-
the Broncos, but liked Terrell.
if the question goes well,
Yeah.
he has fun with it. Well, now you know. The world is your oyster.
Oh, my
This
God.
interview is about to be electric.
Yeah, we didn't have oysters last night.
We didn't either.
Oh,
We
really?
had the fish tacos.
How was the media party? I heard it was terrible.
It sure was. Well,
Yeah.
it was an event.
I heard it was. We didn't go to the media
No.
party last night, and I was upstairs getting some coffee, which you would call water because it's ridiculous. It looks like tea. The coffee does. Anyway, because Sterling hates the
Weak coffee.
coffee, and I'm telling
Weak
you,
coffee, weak men.
it looks like tea. Anyway, so I was upstairs and there was a guy that was in line in front of me. He was like, "Oh my God, it was the worst media party we've ever been to, man. It was like an entire advertisement for EA Sports the whole time we were there." And I'm like, "Oh, thank God I didn't go." I didn't want to be on that 50-minute shuttle ride to get there and then 50 minutes back. I had already gone to opening night, which was an hour 40 on the shuttle to get there to San Jose. That was a disaster. I'm like, I'm not doing it 2 nights in a row. So we went out with our friend Ryan McGuire from Westwood One and hung out with him for a little bit, and and had a really really nice meal. We broke some bread, had an amazing steak. We saw James Harrison. We saw, I believe it was Colston Loveland that was there at there last night. A few other people. Nate Tice was there.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, it was a night, and it was such an intimate restaurant to have like these different people that were there. And I think the bill came to $1,200 for the four of us. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Chad paid.
Oh,
He wasn't here, but he paid.
You didn't put your card down. The alligator armed it. Oh, you beat me
I
to
was
it.
planning on doing that, and then freaking stupid Pat Stratham from Wichita. I look over there, and he's got the card, and he's paying, and I'm like, dude, you're lucky I don't have points like Southwest points or something. If you just cost my kids a trip to Disney World,
That's on you.
that's your ass, man.
That's on you, Doug.
Okay.
I learned that because as a guy who uses debit only, not credit, I realize why people do that.
Yes,
I
you
think
get the
they're
points,
being
dumbass.
so generous, and then I get hit with the Venmo later. I'm like, oh, I thought you were being a generous guy. Oh, I thought you were paying
Oh,
for a guy. I thought you were being.
That's a terrible deal,
I
man.
thought,
They
yeah, you
Venmo
get all
for-
the points, and
It's
then I
awful.
get the. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, you got to get the points, man. You got to
No,
get the. It's best to do that because you get the points and then you get reimbursed.
Here's the thing.
That's the way to go about it. That's why I was sort of annoyed by Pat. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? No, I was paying for this. That's a great deal, man.
New Orleans, the bar is so high with the
Oh my
media
God, it was
party.
so much fun.
New Orleans was just.
Maybe the best.
It's the best
Vegas
I've been
was
to.
the best. Vegas
No.
was the best I've ever. It was at the F1 track.
Yeah, Vegas was fine.
See, here's the thing. Michael says Vegas was the best because it was the only one he went to.
That-
That was in
no, you were in
New Orleans
too.
and Vegas.
You
I
were
don't
in New
know
Orleans
how.
and Vegas. That's right. Yeah.
Everyone, this is you saying that like
No.
Clyde Drexler is the greatest basketball player of all time.
Well, he is.
Like,
No.
sure, there's gonna be one guy that says that, but it's not the
Yeah.
correct answer. The correct answer is New Orleans.
See, I didn't go to Vegas, so I can't
It was fine.
give you
It
an
was
honest
fine.
assessment of Vegas because it would have been cool to be at the F1 track. I wasn't there, but New Orleans was the best. It was awesome.
So I think part of last night I was so excited because it's EA Sports,
Yeah.
and
I
so
was
the
pumped to go
entire
there,
time
too.
I'm just walking by to the sign and you're like EA Sports, it's in the game. Like the entire time, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But they only had 2 rooms open for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And there weren't really interactive aspects behind it.
Hmm.
I was really looking forward to a tour, maybe, right? Or they show you how they put the the balls in the green man suit,
Yeah.
and they show you like how
Oh, yeah.
they get the
Did
maneuvering.
you do that?
Well, they didn't have it, and so that's what I was looking forward to.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what's the point? Just there for an advertisement for that. Like, I was hoping maybe
Free
like
drinks and
they'd give out like a beta version of the next Madden.
Yeah,
You know,
I was-
here's the role. You can play it on a computer. You can't play it on the PlayStation yet, but here's what it's starting to look. Or maybe a sneak peek as to who's going to be on the cover.
I will
stuff
say,
like that.
though, downtown San Francisco is beautiful. I don't know what hotel you're staying at, but it
Mhm.
is so
It's
pretty.
yeah, just
da-
depending
down
on
here.
what time of night.
Well, yeah.
We had an interesting walk back to the hotel.
Oh, interesting morning too. You walk
Yeah.
outside. There's a guy. I'm like,
I wasn't planning on telling this story on the air, but I was walking this morning to the convention center here. We're on Pacific time, so I'm walking. It's 5:30 in the morning, and there's this bag laying on the ground over on the side, and like this building and like this alleyway that was the fastest way to get here. Which
oh yeah, don't go down.
sometimes fastest way isn't always the best
yeah,
way.
don't
sort
go
of like
down
the analytics.
A alley. 5:30 San Francisco alleyway. That right
Yeah,
there
in the
should
morning,
say
yeah.
my brain, my alien brain or alligator brain should say no.
I was walking and like I had to stop and do a double take, and I looked back and there was like a bag that was like busted open, and there were like 12 like hypodermic needles just laying there, and I'm like, all right, well, see ya.
And so
All right, I'm out.
There were 12. There's going to be 11 when that guy comes back
Oh
and
my
finds his bag.
God, dude, I was like, all right, cool. But there are some very beautiful parts of it.
I mean,
Yes,
the
for
architecture
sure.
is just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, absolutely. My wife and I came to San Francisco in 2016, and we did the tour. We saw the Painted Ladies, and we went to the Mrs. Doubtfire house, which is really cool because all of the things that are written on the rocks and the tree and everything around it for Robin Williams and different people like writing what they remember. But it was amazing to see that. And the Full House house.
Yeah.
You know, we went and did all of those things. The Golden Gate Bridge, less sightseeing this time and just more of a hotel and Moscone Center. So yeah, did not take part in that last night, and I am glad I did not. So yeah, that's what do you got going on this week, Sterling?
Yeah,
Huh? You're part of the zone, right?
getting ready to. We're in the zone.
Yeah, that's
getting
right.
ready to
Right now
hop
you are.
off. We have a lot of interviews today, tomorrow.
Yeah, we do.
A plethora coming your way. Today, basically just interviews.
Yeah.
I have one at 8:30. Then we have a little bit of a break until about 10ish Pacific time, of course.
Yes.
And the time change is weird. I do understand if you are.
Do you understand how time zones
No,
work?
but if you are an East Coast team going to the West Coast or
Uh-huh.
vice versa, I could understand how that 3 hours could
Yeah.
throw you off.
For
'cause
sure.
I feel a little.
Well, my
thrown
circadian
off.
rhythm is still like the same, so I'm getting up at like 4 in the morning.
See, mine's still weird. Mine's still on Sicily time.
That makes sense.
But I've never been there, which is the weird part about
right.
it.
That is
But,
odd. Yeah.
yeah.
You do seem like you are pretty stuck up from that standpoint.
Yeah.
You-
So, I'm a big Olive guy.
yeah, that's Olive Garden, olive branches,
Yeah.
olive oil.
So then we're
Olive
going
loaf.
to some
Olive
dinners
loaf.
tonight. I walked way too many miles on my broken stump of a foot yesterday. I actually can't
Oh,
wear
yeah.
the
How you
brace
doing?
today.
You don't have the brace on?
I took it off because my foot was so swollen
Wow.
from the brace. My foot being in one position
Yeah.
and not being able to move. I walked way. So this is probably the worst thing I could
Yeah.
do for it.
Yeah.
But I walked about a mile this morning already on this
Yeah.
disaster. But
Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl on an ankle
that's all I
injury.
think about.
Yeah, so I mean, you're fine. You're just walking around from media party to interview, and then going and getting yourself some coffee that's disguised as tea.
But see, this is my pet peeve. You know this about me.
Yeah.
I will say there's some good coffee spots though in San Fran.
Oh yeah, for sure. There are, just not the one upstairs.
Phil's
So,
coffee, delectable.
great.
Delectable.
I'll take your word for it.
I was
man.
told to go there, and I went there, and I was not disappointed.
There you go. Very good, man. All right, brother. Well, I appreciate. By the way, Mahomes won a Super Bowl on an injured ankle that Steven Ruiz says was the #1 quarterback performance since 2000 of all of the Super Bowls, ranking them 1 through 50. Every quarterback performance, the #1 was Patrick Mahomes against the Eagles in 2022 on an ankle injury, and you can barely walk
And
around
Sterling,
Nope.
put in on a performance walking miles
here. Number 51.
on this, took the boot off.
That was number 51.
It's
Das
actually,
Boot.
it's actually a lot of tape on her head. She did a tape job like
Did you really?
that. I had Julie Freimeyer come down and tape me up.
Julie helped. Yeah, Rick Burkholder over there. That was nice. If they were here, you probably could have done that,
I
but they are
would
not
have
here.
done
They are
that.
not here, and the Chiefs aren't here, which means there are a lot of people that are not here as well. That's for sure. A very limited Radio Row compared to years past. So we're continuing hanging out here, going up until 2:00. Here's how the show is going to line up. Coming up in about 10 minutes from now, we will talk with Terrell Davis. We're going to talk with Rich Gannon at 10:45. Cynthia Freeland will be our guest coming up at 11 o'clock. Still talking with Cynthia as we do every single Wednesday at 11. 11:45, we'll talk with Clinton Yates. And, man, that guy covers everything from football to basketball to baseball and all of those things. We'll talk with Clinton Yates. Dan Orlovsky coming up at noon. We'll talk with Manti Te'o, who has done a fantastic job on NFL Network and Good Morning Football with that job. 12:30, we'll talk with Mike Tannenbaum, and I want to get his thoughts on the middle-class contracts for quarterbacks that maybe a Sam Darnold type thing could be where the league may look next. It's a copycat league. Is that something that'll be happening? Kevin Nagandi will join us at 1 o'clock. Scott Graham in the Westwood One Studios, and now your host, Scott Graham. We'll talk with him at 1:15, and then Jeff Garcia at 1:30, and then whoever else may stop by along the way. So we'll see. We'll find out what it's going to look like here at Radio Row. So that's how the show lines up today. And, you know, I do want to talk about at some point that Steven Ruiz article because it's really fascinating to see where Patrick Mahomes comes in his ranking. One man's opinion, but he went back and watched every single Super Bowl, only specifically looking at the quarterback performances, and then went to the task of ranking them 1 through 50. I mean, that is one heck of an effort to be able to do that. And he came away with the #1 quarterback performance since 2000. It's Patrick Mahomes against the Eagles. And no disagreement, because you could even say Patrick Mahomes' second half against the Eagles is one of the greatest Super Bowl performances of any quarterback ever, whether it's since 2000 or not. I mean, again, second half Chiefs against the Eagles was one of the greatest offensive displays against a defense that set sack records that year. And what the Chiefs were able to do, like it has felt like it has been so long since we've watched an offense look like that in a Chiefs uniform. It was beautiful. It was a symphony out there. And, you know, Obviously, people remember the run by Patrick Mahomes on the ankle with 2.5 minutes to play to get down into field goal range in the tie game. We know whatever plays later was the holding call. That was a holding call, no matter what anybody wants to say. By the way, including Bradbury, who said it was a holding call. Anyway, um, it was one of the most brilliant performances in a halftime that felt like it was incredibly dire because he re-aggravated the injury. They're losing by 10. And credit my wife for a lot of things, but we're watching that game at my nephew's house and Super Bowl party, and she's sitting there with me, brother, nephew, a few others, my son, and at halftime I'm just like, this game's over. This game's over, man. I mean, Mahomes is hurt again. He's limping off the field, dragging his leg, and they can't get anything going offensively. They got a touchdown off of a Nick Bolton fumble recovery. That's it. The Eagles' pass rush is going to figure out the grass in the second half and stay on their feet. This is looking pretty rough. And my wife goes, how often do you always talk about Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs team's winning, always coming back and winning? Why do you now think the game is over just because they're down by 10 points? It's like, you're right. You know what? I'm going to keep a positive mindset in this. And then they come back and win, and she was like, I told you. Why, out of all teams that somebody roots for, why would you, as a fan of this team, ever feel like the team is out of it? All I hear is about how resilient and they come back and they always win. And yet every time they're in this position, you start going, well, okay, well, they're going to, I don't know if they're going to be able to find a way to get this one done. But sometimes you got to be, put on the cape. Sometimes you got to be Superman. And that's what Patrick Mahomes was that night. The entire offense was that night. And Steven Ruiz, I'm glad he did that. I'm glad he went through because if somebody around Kansas City did that, it'd be like, all right, you're biased. Like, I feel like you're starting with, okay, number one, we're going to say it's Mahomes against the Eagles, and then we'll figure out 2 through 50. But for somebody that is not based in Kansas City, an overall NFL analyst, to view it that way, I think lends more credibility, especially from somebody like Steven Ruiz, who we talked about early this year, in which I disagreed with it at the time. And that opinion of mine at the time with Steven Ruiz did not age well. His article aged really well. He wrote, after the first few weeks of the season, the slow erosion of the Chiefs' offense. And it was like, what are we talking about, man? Because I remember talking about that article at the time, and I'm like, Rashee Rice isn't back. Xavier Worthy is injured. Like, they lost a couple of one-score close games. They'll get it figured out. It'll be fine once they get everybody going. Why is this panic happening all over the league? And now you got this happening, which feels like it is so like in the moment, prisoner of the moment of how the Chiefs are playing. And just, it felt like more jumping on the bandwagon, right? Like jumping on the throwing dirt on the grave that everybody was just waiting to do and waiting to do and waiting to do. But you go back and read that again. He was right. He was right about it. Because now we're all in agreement, right? There's been a slow erosion of the Chiefs and the Chiefs offense to where they are right now. And he said it earlier this year, and it wasn't him just throwing dirt on the grave. It wasn't, Jason McIntyre every year saying the Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs, Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs, Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs, and they finally do, and he says, see, I told you so. It wasn't that. It was somebody that saw what was happening in real time and said, here's what I'm seeing, and here's where they're at and why they're here. And he was absolutely correct about that. And so that's somebody that I have disagreed, and I was wrong about that opinion, as we've seen with more data that has come in and more information, because we saw what happened when wait till Rice and Hollywood and Xavier Worthy are on the field at the same time. We saw that, and they ate against crappy defenses. Everybody got to eat when the food was free. But what happened when you had to work for the food? Not much eating going on. Not much eating going on at that point. So it's an interesting article. Patrick Mahomes comes in at number 14 in his performance against the 49ers in 2019, number 18 against the 49ers in 2023. Number 30 overall in his performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, number 43 in his performance last year against the Philadelphia Eagles, which I understand. That was a rough game. It's a rough game for Patrick Mahomes, and that offense was not a rough game for the defense because of the tough situations they were put in, and that started now to where we're talking about since that Bills win, since they beat the Bills in the AFC Championship game in one of the best games that Mahomes has played. They won 7 more games the rest of the year. Just crazy to think about with this Chiefs team to go and have, 7 wins after the AFC Championship game, including the next season. But that's the position they're in. We'll see what they do come draft time. Combine coming up later on this month. Seren Petro, Todd Lebo will be at the Combine later on this month. Things coming out from the East-West Shrine Bowl, from the Senior Bowl, things like that. Pro Bowl was last night. I don't know. What was it? Was it last night? I have no idea, man. Saw some highlights of the Pro Bowl. Apparently, Garrett Bowles had a fun game. Cool. There's the Pro Bowl for you. Garrett Bowles scoring touchdowns and 2-point conversions. Whew, man. We'll talk with Sean Merriman at some point, either today or tomorrow. Not sure when we're going to have him on, but we're scheduled to talk with Sean Merriman. You want to talk about a difference in Pro Bowls? Sean Merriman was on that team when Sean Taylor tried to take the life of Brian Moorman on the was it the fake punt? I think it was punter Brian Moorman for the Bills, and Sean Taylor just destroyed him, and Sean Merriman was right there. That's when the Pro Bowl was like its bragging rights. This is
when
it
meant something.
Yes, when it meant something, and now last night, like it's a. I don't know. I didn't even. Did you watch it, Michael? Did you tune in and even check out a little bit of it?
I could care so.
You could not.
I could not care less.
Yeah, I was going to say you could care less.
I could care less.
You care a lot. You care a lot about a lot of things.
When Justin Fields is turning down the Pro Bowl, I think it's time to hang it up. It's time to stop.
I thought it was odd that they asked Mahomes just to limp around out there. We're fine if you just stand out there and play. We just need anybody to play for the AFC. God, man, what a. I don't know. I didn't watch it, so I don't know what it was like. You know what I watched more? I watched more of the high school flag football showcase. I watched more of that than I did the actual Pro Bowl.
Well, they probably cared more, so that already makes it better.
Yes, because oh man, come on. I really, really apologize to Miss Brady from Staley, who played on the team. I feel bad. I forgot her first name. I should know that. And I'm sorry. It's the reason I watched it was because, local player in the game for the NFC, Victoria Brady. I knew I was going to remember it. And I remembered it by Googling it. Yes, Victoria Brady competing in the flag football girls high school showcase last night here in San Francisco. And I watched that. I have no idea what took place in the Pro Bowl. But I watched Victoria Brady in the high school girls flag football showcase last night. That's what I watched. I would much rather check that out because that was cool and it was competitive and it was awesome to see. And I am so pumped, by the way, as a girl dad, I am so pumped for the possibility of what my daughter could. She plays football with my son constantly. She's catching the football, throwing the football, running, tackling. It's a little different with flag football, but she's out doing that. And I get excited when I think about what is a door that is open to her that was never open to any girl when I was growing up or before that. That flag football now becoming more and more of a sanctioned sport at the high school level. And by the way, this time last year, we talked with Mark Donovan here at the Super Bowl. And what did Mark Donovan talk about? If they were to build in Kansas, they want to create and build these extra fields for flag football, and they want to become the flag football capital of the United States. They want to be the United States, like Colorado with Team USA in soccer, the men's national team. They want to be that for flag football in the United States here in Kansas City. Imagine how big girls, boys, flag football would become here in the area. It would be a hub of some of the great flag football players because it would be talked about and discussed constantly here in town. And just really awesome to see that yesterday in the girls' high school showcase as a girl dad who is the dad of a 6-year-old that likes playing football, that she could actually go out there and play football and do that. That was really, really cool to see. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We will talk about TDs, touchdowns, and Terrell Davis. That's who we will talk to coming up in a little bit. He's wrapping up an interview where he is at right now. And so we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and we will talk with Terrell Davis. I'm going to tell him the only reason they won is because of Elvis Gerback and not Rich Gannon. We'll see what he has to say. We'll talk with Terrell Davis coming up here in just a little bit. We'll take a timeout, come back. More Zone right after this.
You're
All right, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. We're hanging out at Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco. And time now to talk to a man who Chiefs fans are certainly familiar with. Plenty of booze rained down in Kansas City. He terrorized Chiefs defenses for way too long. It is Terrell Davis of the Denver Broncos, Hall of Famer Terrell Davis. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
You look great.
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you look like you're in
Appreciate that.
great shape, man.
I just try to stay mindful, and I use working out as sort of a mental therapy for me, right? I don't play the game anymore, but for some reason when I go work out, I have to assume or I try to confuse myself like, all right, man, you're preparing for a game. And so that keeps me going. And my kids are growing up. I have a 15, 13, 11-year-old, and I'm just trying to stay where I can do things with them. Man, we end up picking up snowboarding just a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, I'm 53, man, and I'm out there on the slopes. I'm killing it too.
Really?
Oh, I'm killing it.
So are you a good snowboarder? Natural?
Well, I grew up. So I think for me, I grew up in San Diego.
Okay.
And I used to ride skateboards a lot. Used to do the half pipe jumps.
Wow.
So I think it's a natural feeling for me to be on a board with both my feet.
Mm-hmm.
Skiing, I don't want to have two independent, legs going everywhere. So yeah, I feel pretty comfortable with the moves and the balance on a snowboard.
It's interesting because skateboarding, you don't move your feet side to side, right, like jump cut or anything. But did skateboarding help your contact balance as a running back?
I think anytime you can work on balance. Remember, I can't remember the player, but it was like maybe it was like Walter Payton or somebody. They would go do ballet, and they would do things where they were just working on balance. So anytime you can work on balance, whether it's on a board or anything, I think it helps you in sports, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I feel like.
Terrell Davis is our guest. Tardive dyskinesia.
Yeah.
What is TD? Besides you being TD?
Yeah, I know the other TD. So people get it confused. It's not me. Tardive dyskinesia is a chronic movement disorder caused by taking certain prescription mental health medications, such as an antipsychotic or antidepressant, that can cause repetitive movement in your face, your hands, your feet, your torso, and so if you're having any of those symptoms, we want to let you know that you're probably experiencing tardive dyskinesia. So we would encourage you to go visit theothertd.com or go see your healthcare provider. And the reason I'm passionate about this, man, is because I'm really passionate about health and being an advocate for that. And I just want people to know that, if you're at home, I want to use my platform to speak out against this terrible disorder. And I was battling my own mental health and chronic conditions for a while, and I was really kind of presented with an option to take medication as a way of dealing with my own issues. And so I know that I could have been somebody out there who's going through these symptoms. And so again, encourage anybody who's going through these symptoms to go see their doctor or go visit theothertd.com.
And you were dealing with those in a time where vulnerabilities weren't really accepted as vulnerabilities, especially from that standpoint as football players.
It's hard because it's a gray area.
Yeah.
And a lot of players don't want to cross over into that area because they think it's a sign of weakness. And we've always been taught as athletes growing up, be tough.
Push through.
Yeah. Mental, physical pain. There's no time for that. And everybody needs space to be able to process things and have the ability to just be vulnerable and recognize what's happening to you. It's not okay.
Yeah.
Right? Go seek help.
Yeah. Terrell Davis is our guest. I had mentioned to you that we're going to be talking with Rich Gannon and that 97 divisional game in Kansas City that you guys won. And you may not remember it much because it was just another win for you guys on your way to your first of 2 Super Bowls.
I remember that.
Chiefs are now very familiar with what that is like. But that 97 game, I'm going to tell Rich Gannon, the wrong quarterback was playing in that game for the Chiefs because Elvis ended up playing in that one instead of Rich Gannon. What I'm saying, Terrell, is it's the only reason the Broncos won. If Rich was in, it would have been maybe a Super Bowl in '98, but certainly not '97.
All right, I'll allow you.
What do you remember that thing? Because that was
I remember
the
that
Chiefs
game.
in '95 and '97 were sort of feeling like they were heading to a Super Bowl, especially 95. They lost to the
Man.
Colts. In 97, the defense and, running game. And it was like, this is the year that it's going to happen. And of course, the freaking Broncos come into Kansas City and win.
Yeah, well, we had to take your boy Neil Smith. We had to
Yeah,
bring
it's true.
Keith Trailer over.
Yeah.
So they had to come over to the good side.
Yeah.
So having Big Neil on our team
Yeah.
gave us that advantage.
Yeah.
I remember that it was just Kansas City is just the hardest place to play. It's just it was that was our house of horrors going
Really.
to KC. And you remember we played you guys late in the season that year, and we lost
Mhm.
by a long last-minute field goal. We left that game, and I remember walking off the field. Even as a team, I thought we felt like, okay,
Yeah.
this team is beatable here.
Mhm.
We can beat this team here. And not knowing we would come back. You guys had won the
Yeah.
division.
Yep. Yeah. Number
So-
2 seed
Number
that year.
2 seed, so we had to travel. So we
Yeah.
figured if we did play you guys, we were playing you back in Kansas
Yeah.
City. And so then that was our tour of a revenge tour. That was our
Yeah.
revenge tour year. We played after we
The-
had won that game.
Yeah.
We played the Steelers, who we lost to the same year.
Yeah.
And then our first game was against Jacksonville.
Oh, right. Because of the year before,
Had
right?
beat us the year before.
Yeah, that's right.
So we were on a tour like, okay,
bet.
we are going to
It's time to handle all family
handle,
business.
handle this. Uh,
Terrell Davis is our guest. It's interesting you bring that up because it reminds me of a few years ago in 2023 when the Chiefs went on the road to Buffalo and Baltimore in the divisional round in the AFC Championship game. In the first road games for them as a team, they lost earlier that year in Buffalo. And coming off the field, like Travis Kelce was interesting. They lost, and Travis Kelce gave the fans like a little high five, a little
Yeah.
clap, like a little golf clap. Like, nice
Yeah,
job,
like,
guys.
okay, yep.
Nice job. But then they talk about, leading into that divisional round game, thinking back to that one, going, well, we didn't play all that well. And we were right there.
Yeah.
We know we can come here and win. And it's almost like a confidence built even in a loss.
it sounds weird,
Yeah.
but yes. And every game you play, you leave that game and you try to figure out, all right, what did we do well? What didn't we do well?
Mhm.
And for when you don't play well and you still are in the game, you're like, you know what, guys, we didn't even play that well. So we bring not
Yeah.
even an A game, we just can't bring a D game,
Right.
and we got a chance to win.
Yeah.
And so that's is valuable for any team
Mhm.
to have done that, and then to be able to have seen or played in Kansas City late in the season. So
Yeah.
so we had that familiarity with
Yeah.
the fans, the noise, the cold, whatever it was. We felt really good about going there, man.
Terrell Davis is our guest. The difficulty of back-to-back. The Chiefs went to 3, but they won back-to-back. You, the Patriots,
Yeah.
the Chiefs, the few teams that have been able to do it, obviously some of those dynasties. How difficult is that to win and then get back? Because we don't see many teams do that. The Eagles had their struggles this year after winning, going back-to-back Super Bowls and winning that. What was 98 like for you guys?
We started off 98 well.
Yeah.
We were undefeated through 13 games. We started off and we were hot. The challenge was just I just felt like every team we played, it just felt like, man, we're playing a playoff game.
Mhm.
They were playing us like we were the barometer.
Yeah.
And same thing with the Chiefs. Anytime they're you're playing them, you feel like, okay, you're going to give everything you got to beat this team. And we felt that. But we had we had all of our coaching staffs. We didn't lose any coordinators. Our head coach was still there. We had most of the pieces were in place. We had really good health,
Yeah.
which is critical. You got to have health. But we actually lost John for 4 games that year too, during the stretch. So good backup quarterback came in. Bubby Brister came in, held it down for 4 games. But it is difficult if you make it difficult.
Okay.
I think you can't. You just can't start.
Do you have to fight boredom? Like, and boredom is an odd name word because you're in the NFL. Like, you can't be
Yeah.
bored and play. But fight complacency of like, look, our season starts in the playoffs. Let's just get there. Let's get through this week so we can finally play the games that we really care about because we're trying to defend a Super. We know what it's like to play in the playoffs. This is week 11. Is that difficult to get through week by week?
I didn't find that to be hard.
Okay.
To me, I wanted to win. I don't
Yeah.
care what it was. And we had a lot of like-minded individuals. Our head coach, we just wanted to win games.
Yeah.
And we placed a huge value on winning. And so No, every week we showed up,
Interesting.
man. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, we
Let's
went,
go.
and plus we had this little incentive, which was the weirdest thing, but it was fun. If we won a game on Fridays, we could wear hats.
Okay. Hat day.
Hat day.
Hat day in school was awesome, man.
Hat day was the. So if you mess up the hat day because you didn't play well, boy, there's some problems going on.
Terrell Davis is our guest. We have Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. What made John Elway different?
He was just different.
Yeah.
Obviously competitive dude, but I never played with a quarterback that no matter what the heck the situation was like, he was going to ball. Like, he never allowed the situation to dictate his level of effort. John was coming in to be a killer every single time. And so knowing you got a guy like Patrick Mahomes, knowing you got Elway, you are never out of a game. You could be down by a few points, but you're never out.
Yeah.
And then to see him go to work, see him just go to work with his – you saw the play in the Super Bowl, right, where he – 38-year-old man making a play, getting hit and did a
spinning
helicopter.
around. And, yeah.
I mean, not only his competitive nature, but the dude's talent was ridiculous. I mean, he can throw the ball. Obviously can, use his feet to run. So to have that guy, and I think the biggest piece of quarterbacks like Elway and Patrick, at least with John, he brought the level of play of everybody around him up.
Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest thing, biggest compliment, man. Like, you go in the huddle with Elway, dude, there are expectations, bro. Like, you can't, you got to come in there and you have to hold yourself accountable to that dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Different level.
And there's some teams where they have a good quarterback, but the players they don't hold themselves responsible or committed, to the quarterback. And that's that you have to have, right?
Terrell Davis is with us. TheOtherTD.com, tardive dyskinesia, TheOtherTD.com. Terrell, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. And congrats on the 97 Super Bowl based on Gerback instead of Rich Gannon.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Terrell Davis with us. We will take a time out, come back. More Zone next. Row in San Francisco. Joining us now is Rich Gannon, Sirius XM, 11 o'clock in the morning. You hear him, you see him on CBS, you see him on all these different ways around the NFL. Rich, welcome into the show. How are you, sir?
Jason, I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate it. Look, I just had Terrell Davis on the show, okay, and he just got up. And at the end, I told him, I said, look, you guys don't win that Super Bowl, the wrong quarterback was playing in '97, and you guys don't win that game. And he laughed and he said, if that makes you feel better, that's fine. It's all good. I get it. But that's true. That's true.
You know what's crazy? I've talked to some Bronco players that were on that team and in that meeting room, and Mike Shanahan said to them, hey, we got to prepare, Gannon's going to be the guy, and then found out that, Marty was going to go with Elvis Gerbach, and he said, hey, now, we've got a chance. I just think I loved playing for Marty. We had a great experience my 4 years in Kansas City. 2 of those years we went 13-3. We lose to the Colts in a home playoff game. We lose to the Broncos, and that team that team that lost to the Broncos was a team that was really, really good enough to win a Super Bowl. And I think, we had won 7 of the last 8 games. I started I think 7 of those games, and as much as I love Marty, I thought that was probably the worst decision he's ever made as a head coach. I mean, you just don't change when you have momentum like that. We were playing so well, and then in fairness to Elvis, he went out there. He wasn't even in football shape.
Yeah.
He had been rehabbing. He wasn't ready to play in the game. He struggled in the game, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's funny. Terrell Davis also brought up, not funny, but he brought up that they had lost in Kansas City to you guys late in the season, and he said they actually left there going, okay, we're good. We're good. We'll see him again. If we see him again, we'll see him here because they're going to win the division with this loss. But we actually feel better now leaving this game about how beatable this team is for us, which is interesting in a loss to come away with that from the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, I was a score in the game. Was it like 14 to, I can't remember what the score was in the game. It was like 17 to
in the divisional round?
Yeah.
14-10.
Yeah.
Was the final score.
So John Elway, Terrell Davis, the guy scored 14 against our defense. I'll think about that. If you would have said before the game, hey, all you got to do is score more than 14 points, you would have taken it all. Any playoff
100%.
game. And so, we lose 14-10. And, I'll tell you something. I played on a lot of good football teams. I played against a lot of good defenses. And that was a phenomenal defense. I mean, when you talk about, Neil Smith and Derek Thomas and James Hasty and Dale Carter and all those guys. I mean, we had the number 1 scoring defense, number 1 in total defense. All we had to do was just not throw up on ourselves.
Yeah.
We would have won, and of course, we would have won the following week. That was a good football team. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, Rich Gannon is our guest. So I saw the video that was posted with you and John Gruden on the streets. That was great.
That
man.
wasn't scripted. I was literally walking home from Radio Row, minding my own business. I hear someone screaming at me, and I just keep walking because I figured it was a 49ers fan trying to yell and say something negative about the Raiders. And so I'm walking along, and all of a sudden he's screaming my name, and I go, I recognize that voice, and I turn back around, and sure enough, it's John Gruden. And I love John. He was so good for my career. I've been around a lot of great coaches, but his energy and his passion, and more importantly, his belief in me. And that's the one thing I didn't get in Kansas City. Like, it was never my team. Like Carl Peterson and Marty Schottenheimer, like they went out and signed Steve Bono after Joe Montana left. And then after 2 years of that, they said, well, we're going to sign Elvis Gerbach, another 49er guy. And it was no one ever put their arm around me and said, you know what? Yeah. You're our guy. We're going to run with you, until I got to Oakland with John Gruden and Al Davis.
What was it like being recruited by John Gruden?
It was pretty simple. I mean, my agent, Tom Condon, the former Kansas City Chief and one of the all-time great agents, called me up and said, hey, I'll never forget, he called me up and said, the Raiders want to bring you in. And I said, that's the last place. Because I was brainwashed. I hated the Raiders.
Yes.
As a member of the Chiefs for 4 years, I've been sitting in those meetings with Marty. So, but when I went out there, I just realized this is a football guy, and he believed in me, and the system of football was very similar. And it was a pretty dysfunctional building for a while, but we got the thing turned around.
Was it, when he talked to you, was it about, hey, this is kind of dysfunctional, we need you to come in here and help get this thing on the right track?
He didn't present it that way. He just presented it like, look, you and I, I'll never forget he said to me, you and I are going to do this together. We're either going to succeed or we're going to fail, but we're going to do it together. And basically, I've got your back.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, no one's ever said it to me.
Yeah.
And I was all on board.
Yeah. I mean, you went to Delaware as a punter, right?
Yeah.
And then turned into a quarterback. And then, your journey through.
Round pick, but I went through some of the same growing pains. Goes to the Jets. He's 21 years old. They play him before he's ready to play. The team was terrible. Had some bad coaching around him, a bunch of different coordinators, a bunch of different systems. They kick him to the curb after 4 years. Goes to Carolina for a year and a half. Same thing. Yeah. Bad team. First year head coach. First time play caller. I mean, all the dysfunction you could possibly have. And then he goes to San Francisco for a year and gets a chance to watch and listen and learn with Kyle Shanahan, and then he goes to Minnesota. Wasn't supposed to start there, and then Kevin O'Connell puts his arm around and said, let's go do this thing, win 14 games. And now you look what he's done this year. So I'm really happy for him. I'm proud of him. I'm
Yeah.
proud of him because he's battled through adversity, and now he's got a chance to win a Super Bowl.
It was. I was going to ask you if you had a special place in your heart for guys like Sam Darnold.
Oh.
I mean, it's a different path being a fourth rounder as opposed to number 3 overall pick. But guys that sort of bounced around and didn't necessarily have the belief, and then finally got a spot with the right guy to maximize his talents and say, no, this is actually what he could have been all along.
There's
so
so many,
agree.
There's so many great stories like that. I always say there's very few quarterbacks that can come into our league like Dan Marino and have immediate success and never look back. Like even Peyton Manning, he threw more interceptions than touchdowns his first year. He went 3-13. I mean, he got it figured out pretty quick. But my point is, there's a lot of quarterbacks that have to go through growing pains. I mean, I'll just throw this out. In the last 5 years, the first overall pick in the draft has been a quarterback, and in each year, whether it was during the season, his first season, or after his first season, they fired the head coach.
Yeah.
So you're constantly learning a new system. Like it'd be like going to high school and saying, year one, your freshman year, we're going to teach you Spanish. Next year, you come back, we're going to teach you German. Your third year, we'll teach you, like another language. It's just so hard. And I think
we expect you to be fluent in it.
Expect you to be fluent in it. And it's a dysfunctional way to develop quarterbacks, and that's what we're doing.
How difficult is it from one system to the next? Like, are there things that are sometimes similar, but
there's some things, but some of them can be very different. Some can be similar, but the terminology and verbiage can be different. You have to have absolute command of it. Some of the protections can be different. Obviously, the personnel you're playing with can be different. You got a new coach coming in. I just think the coach and the quarterback being on the same page, a play caller, not only that, but understanding why. Like that's when I really got to be a good quarterback. I understood why we were calling the play in that situation, and if we didn't get this front or we didn't get this coverage, I knew what to get to. You only have 60 or 65 plays in a game. You can't waste a single play.
Yeah.
And that's what I started to become a good quarterback. When I understood why we were calling plays, what John was looking for, and then if that wasn't what we got, do you have tools in your toolbox to fix it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The days of calling a play and crossing your fingers and hoping you get the right front and coverage are long gone.
Yeah, Rich Gannon is our guest. That's interesting you say that because last Monday night, actually, we were at the opening night, and I talked with Drew Lock, Kansas City kid, back up to Sam Darnold, and the conversation was sort of about working with Kubiak and what he's learned throughout his career. And he said the one thing is, like, knowing the play call, why we're attacking, where we're attacking, what's the point of this, the game plan, this play is specific for this, and just understanding conceptually overall as to what the point of this particular, it's not just a play. Why are we calling this play?
Yeah, I think that comes with maturity, right?
Yeah.
That comes with playing the position, that comes being in a system and really being with a coach that can help develop that talent over the course of time.
Who wins?
I think Seattle wins by a field goal.
Seattle by a field goal.
Bryce,
Right.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank
You're
you
the
so
best.
much, Rich. I appreciate
Enjoy the
it.
rest of the week.
Absolutely. There's Rich Gannon joining us here. And the Chiefs did, lose the Broncos based only solely and specifically on the fact that Rich Gannon did not play. It's the sexiest man of, according to People magazine. It ended up being Elvis Gerback, but it was supposed to be Rich Gannon. So there you go, another story that is great with Rich Gannon. But, man, I can't imagine your entire career you've been doubted and a backup and never really viewed as the guy. Then you were sort of the guy playing great football. Then you're not the guy because they bring in somebody else. And then somebody goes, you're my quarterback. You're the quarterback that I want. And no wonder he went to the Raiders and turned that thing around. MVP, went to a Super Bowl. Great stuff from Rich Gannon. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We will talk with Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network analytics expert, coming up next.
You're in the zone on Sports Radio.
And 1. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, hanging out here at Radio Row. Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. You can hear it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Joining us now, a man who caught a lot of boos around Kansas City when he played for the Chargers. It is Sean Merriman here in the zone with us. Sean, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
I am doing just fine. You look like you could go out and still play.
I wish,
how
man.
many plays could you give right now? You got to go on the field this weekend.
12 to 15, but I ain't playing to run. I tell you that. I'll go out and give you some great pass rushes, but man, playing to run is out the question.
Yeah, it's like we had some fun with Chris Jones, who said Spags probably doesn't want to hear me say this, but we tackled the running back on the way to the quarterback.
That's the truth, and that's the honest statement.
Yeah, Sean Merriman is our guest. Lights Out Extreme going on right now. What's the latest with that venture that you've been on for a while?
We just Lights Out Extreme Fight, my MMA promotion. We just signed a deal with ESPN Latin America, which is
very cool.
A big deal for us because